All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Jared at 3Cs. We thought today we would do a full walk around and just the maintenance stuff on a UForce 600. So if you just bought a used one like this is, this is a 2022, only has 120 miles on it. So we just did a full oil change video. I didn't want to drag this video out to make it too long. I just wanted to show you where stuff was. So if you want to do oil change on this vehicle, check out that video. It's going to be on the channel right next to this video. So let's jump into it. So we're going to start in the front of the vehicle, work our way back. So what I love about this UForce 600 design is we can open the hood. So I just pulled the rubber band there, I call it a band, both sides, and then now I can weasel this hood up. And by myself, I like to try to pull out on these fender flares because the inner flare kind of catches. So if we come in a little, Chris, we'll show off how easy this thing is. So this one has the wireless winch remote with it. So that's what this little box is for. You can, hold both sides. This battery, no, it isn't dead. So we can go in and out with a winch, which is cool. The rest of them have your traditional, and not to get off topic here, this is your traditional plug-in winch controller underneath the dash. So this box, because it's a 22, it still came with that stock. Now you can add this to your newer one if you want. So you can add the wireless remote. Next to it is the winch contactor. So this controls, in and out for the winch controls. And after a while, if you're plowing, that can wear out after a while. Next to it is the fuse panel. What I like about the CFMoto, right on top, that shows you exactly. Now there's more fuses in the back. The main fuse and the power steering fuse, those are bigger 40 amps. We'll talk about those in a minute. But the rest of it is all right here, easy to get to. And sometimes there's like a spare, like a reserve. But you can also put a couple spares. Again, they're just standard fuses. Or the relays you can get from us dealers. So that's easy. This is your brake reservoir. It shows you exactly where your brake levels are. Here's our coolant level. Now this one we just ran outside, but even though it is kind of low, it's on the lower edge. We probably should kind of put it back in the middle. So coolant is easy to monitor. What I love about this is how easy this radiator is to clean, because most folks, they really struggle to clean radiators and take care of them. And this gives us, we can pull this tab out of the front. I don't want to hurt the little tabs there, but we could pull this pre-screen all the way off the front. You could wash this separate, but the advantage of the flip up hood here allows us to really wash this radiator out with like a gentle hose. A lot of the machines are kind of hidden. You got body work that you can't get water directly in. So this UForce 600 really lets you clean that out really well. Down here we have our grease fittings. This is the upper A-arm. There's one in the middle, one on the bottom. Now these are ball joints on the outside, so there's not grease fittings out here. This is our front diff, and to change the oil on our front diff, we would come to this side, and you can see right here, that's a 6mm hex head bolt right there. That is our fill. Our drain is directly below it. You can see that cutout in the bottom where my finger just poked up through. It's the same 6mm hex head. Drain that out first, refill it to the bottom of the threads right there. Real easy to do. And on this side, you also have the same grease fittings. But again, just to review, look how easy this hood flips up. So everything in the front, right at your fingertips, easy to get to. So now we're going to show you underneath the seats. Now, Chris has got the seatbelt. Obviously if the seatbelt's not plugged in, it won't go over 4 miles an hour. So that one's plugged in. And that one you picked up on the latch in the back, rocked it backwards to get it out of this little channel here. And I think if we take my seat out next, if we go up here and then pick it up and set it, Chris was able to pull up on that. My seat got out of the way, so now we can see under there. And this side is similar. We just pick up straight. This one's a little more challenging, so you gotta get around the seat. So there's our bins completely out of the way. We got our fuel cell. Again, this machine's used. It's 3 years old. It's incredible how clean it is. So fuel cell is here. Like I said, we just did an oil change video. So the oil filter housing is there. The dipstick is there for the oil. We can see the front half of the secondary clutch in the back there. You can start to see the battery. So it's really not much because it's all storage, right? So front prop shaft, again, there's no grease fittings on that. So no real maintenance on the prop shaft. Not a lot directly underneath here to worry about other than your engine oil dipstick is there. If you're curious where the ECU is, pull out on the panel there, right there. So up, high, and dry, that's where we can plug into it as a dealer. The little dealer plug is right there. That is your ECU location. Now we can tip the bed on this thing, and we got a handle on both sides so you can see it move because Chris just grabbed it over there. We showed in the oil change video we can tip this bed up a lot further if we pull the pin on top. Now we don't really have to do it again, but we'd pull the pin there and that would relieve it from the cylinder. But if you have the accessory rear bumper, it's gonna be too close and the tire would hit already, and so it wouldn't really make much of a difference. But if you're trying to work in here, you can tip this bed up further by relieving the shock of its duties. Right here is the air filter housing. So it's a simple 6 clips. I think the bottom 2 would kind of rock out if I just do this. So this one's a little dusty on the inside. I assume this machine was just kind of ridden down dirt roads, because again, there's no mud anywhere. There's not even mud like on the fender wells. So a little dusty on the air filter. That obviously will take out, fully service that. This is the other side of the oil filter housing. This is where the oil goes back in right here. And on that side, we have our battery. You can see the battery kind of hidden right there. That's probably the hardest thing to get to on these UForce 600s, because that battery is kind of, you got to reach up and over that fender well or try to reach in from the front. And then I'm going to show you the 2 main fuses over there. So these fuses are kind of hard to show on camera because I have to come in and turn the camera. And so right here, one is for power steering and one is for the main body fuse. Now I already like kind of half disconnected it because I wanted to be able to show it, but it's a 40 amp fuse. You can see it right there. Now the housing bracket behind it that's spinning in my hand there, this had a separate 40 amp fuse spare. You can see the spare one when my hand's not in the way. So, you know, you might never have to mess with these, but it's just good to know where your 2 fuses are. And I will connect that back in there. In the back, we have our grease fittings and our rear differential. So you will notice the back has a sway bar. You can see it connected to the A-arms here on both sides. And so that gives us 2 grease fittings that are attached to the frame on both sides. There's one here, one on the other side. And you have the same A-arm grease fittings as well. So we have an upper, and then the lower on this side, lower in the back. And also, one thing that people always forget is the grease fittings behind the rear wheel on the outsides of these. I'm going to pop this wheel off in a second. We're going to show you that. You don't have to do this often. Every 20 hours, it said 20 and then 50. And right there, there's the top grease fitting. It's important to get to, so you got to protect those. And on the bottom, I don't know if my gimbal's going to let me do it here. Okay, I can. Sweet. There is the bottom grease fitting. Now, unfortunately, we had to take that wheel off to get to it, because otherwise, that rim on there, I'll show you on this side, it's just so tight, you'll never get a grease gun in there to get to those. So I'll show you how easy this rear diff is as well. So here's our fill plug again. It's the same 6mm hex head like you would have found in the front diff. And the bottom of it has one drain bolt, and my gimbal won't go that low, but there's simply one drain bolt on the bottom for that rear diff. So front and rear diffs are easy. Another maintenance thing that people should be kind of checking is their CV boots, front and rear. Make sure there's no cracks. Now, an easy way to know if there's a crack is if there's like a grease spot, because these are packed with grease. And with this being run down the road in the dust, that would really give you an idea. You know, as soon as dust hits the grease, it would show it. It would be flung all over the vehicle here, but you know, this thing's really never been in the dirt. So just a quick visual inspection of your CV boots. Side note, Chris just caught it for me. I've been telling you guys this is a 6mm hex head this whole time. It's not, it's an 8. So front and rear are an 8mm hex head to remove, and the drain bolt and the fill plug. All right, guys, thanks for following along. That was a really quick blow apart of a UForce 600. I think it's really valuable information, because if you're in the showroom looking, or if you own one, knowing how to take care of it, different UTVs in the market might not be this easy, especially with the hood pulling up on that, all the seats and storage bins popping out, and then how high you can raise that dump box on this thing. Long-term ownership on this is super easy. So if you guys found the video helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel. Enjoy the ride. See you on the trail.